What's up, everybody? Let me preface this by saying I like Porsha. I think she should return to RHOA. And I think that the Ultimate Girls Trip is setting her up for that return. I already did a video on it. But I don't know if Porsha knows what the truth is. And her story then changed a few times. And y'all know what we do around here. We come with
receipts. Do I need to bring the receipts, baby girl? Because I got receipts.
So, guys, like the videos, make sure it plays because we got a lot to discuss.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. That's all. 1 and 1 got to equal 2.
Make it make sense, boo.
Big moves.
Surfer.
Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you see. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you see. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
Sun in the sky.
Okay, guys, this has been absolutely ridiculous to see the way that Porsha has tried to spin How She Met Simon. So if you've been watching Ultimate Girls Trip, I'm going to let you hear what Porsha had to say there. Then we're going to go into what she said originally, and then we're going to go into how the story changed. But first, just a little FYI, the end of this video will be about Candiace Owens body shaming Lizzo and people body shaming Gizelle and Candiace from Potomac. It's a lot going on, so you want to stay to the end of that. So let me let you guys hear what Porsha had to say.
Some of my fans was a little difficult because people really didn't understand what was going on. But at the end of the day, what stands the test of time? Truth test.
I don't know that you know truth, and I gotta shout out my girl Forex Rocks again. Forex Rocks always says a lie don't care who tell it, and Porsha, ma'am, you tell quite a few, in my opinion. So this is what she had to say in regards to How She Met Simon.
So what actually happened was I'm on a show, and they told me we're going to bring in a new wife. When I met her and her husband, I didn't really place him at the moment, but I knew him already. Fast forward.
You knew him already. You couldn't place him. An extremely wealthy African man. You knew him? Did you have his phone number? You knew him, but you couldn't place him? That doesn't... I think that wealthy people stay on Porsha's radar. Just my opinion. She ain't dating no broke. So, yeah, that doesn't pass the smell test to me, but let's go on. And Porsha fans, definitely put in the comments whether you agree, disagree, or you kind of see what I'm saying a little bit, a smidgen.
They actually announced that they were getting a divorce. I hit him in the DMs like, I'm praying for y'all, hope you good. So he hit me back like, yeah, I'm good.
So you knew him, but you didn't have his number. Didn't even really recollect where you knew him from. But the divorce gets announced and you're like, let me go and, let him know that, I support him, even though I don't really know him. And you're in my prayers.
When you come in Atlanta, let's get together. I was like, oh, cool. Well, he hit me. I was like, I'm in Atlanta. I want to see you. And I said, before I see you, I need you to email me your divorce papers.
You were being very thorough.
Now, how do we go from I'm praying for you and I support you to I need to see your divorce papers? That's putting 20 on 10. Because if you were just giving him some type of emotional support or, y'all were going to go to church together, that'd be one thing. But by saying specifically that I need your divorce papers, it already sets the tone for this is going to be something more than just a mild friendship. But that's not what you're putting out there. You're putting it out there because the straight shooters, pow, we see it, but that's not what you are trying to put out there. I think she thought in her Porsha brain, okay, if I tell them that I had him email the divorce papers, then they're going to know that I was serious and that sets the timeline. But what it actually sets is your communications were not just about being prayerful and supporting somebody going through a divorce.
I had to figure. I'm a public figure, and I don't want to represent that.
Yep.
So
You are a public figure. You don't want to represent being with anybody's husband. However, I read this book and you were with Mr. Kelly while he was married. So you do kind of represent that. Even if that's not who you are now, you were fine with representing it in your book. Y'all, sometimes this even the Porsha fans, I think you're gonna have to, like, once it all gets broken down, I think even the Porsha fans. So let me let you guys hear how she started off. And how you start is how you finish if you're telling the truth. This is how she said that she met Simon initially. These are her words, specifically from her lips.
Restaurants, nightclubs.
Simon and I met actually because he had DM'd me. That's what I think.
Simon met because he had DM'd me. That is a far cry from what she said initially. Oh no, what she said recently, that you knew him, but you couldn't place him. Now you're saying on your show you met in the DMs. Now this is what Simon had to say.
Now y'all tell me if he's telling y'all something different, okay?
My relationship with Porsha started after my ex-wife and I announced that we were getting divorced. Porsha reached out in my DM and expressed that she was sorry to hear that. Her DMing me, checking up on me, making sure I was okay. I appreciated it. And
so that's what he said on her show. So you have conflicting stories from the very beginning. But guys, the way media works is you kind of have an idea of what you're going to put out there. So her not telling the truth and him telling the truth, it's conflicting from the jump. So after that aired and after she knew what was coming down the pike, her story changed again. And this is what she told Andy. Y'all know we gotta do what the straight shooters do.
Like, girl, get it together. Connect the dots.
Okay, so this is what she told Andy.
Claimed he slid into your DMs. Was that before you met him at Fallon's hot tub and hookup party last season?
Oh no, absolutely not. That was
You claimed he slid in your DMs.
after he had posted about the divorce. And I do have to say, yes, on the show I was playing coy. As you can see, I do the eye stuff. I actually told him, like, I'm sorry for your divorce and all of that, because I know what that feels like.
Okay, yes, that's safe, but why are you asking for his divorce papers? She didn't want to tell the public that at this point.
Like, okay. I know what it feels like to go through betrayal and hurt. And a little birdie had told me that.
Okay, so that was the first thing. Okay. Let me see. Then we had her talking more.
For going to therapy and all of that. And that's part of why I was attracted to him.
How did you review?
You were attracted to him because he goes to therapy? No, ma'am. You were attracted, in my opinion, to this lifestyle. And I get a lot of flack because sometimes I call I call her husband Florida Evans. Maybe I'm gonna start calling him Georgia Evans, but I get a lot of flack for that. It is what it is. Georgia Evans. That might have to be his new name. But ma'am, no. You were not attracted to him, in my opinion, because of the therapy. You were attracted to him because Simon checks those marks that you need to feel secure. Remember, I read your book. But she also had this to say.
I think is the biggest misconception about your relationship. That you started dating him while he was with Fallon, and that you saw.
Very clear question. What is the biggest misconception about your relationship? Is it that you started dating him after the Fallon thing?
Dating him while he was with Fallon, and that you somehow stole him from her?
I think here's the thing. I talk about on the show in the beginning that I just bared the brunt of all of the tough social media bashing, all of that.
She's redirecting y'all.
And it's okay because I'm a grown woman. I make my choices. She is also grown. She has had her baby. Congratulations.
That is called a redirect. He asked you specifically about dating this man while he was married, and you redirected that question to Fallon being pregnant.
I'm happy for her and her fiance, and it's just grown folks making decisions. That's all it is. And I knew that the optics weren't great for the public, and I know that y'all love me. I do. I know.
So then she called out to the audience not to have to answer the question. So when they clapped, she knew she was good. If it's the truth, then tell it. You have multiple times to literally just say it, and you won't. So it is what it is. You alleged you didn't know him at this moment. You've already married the man. What Porsha is doing, and she's actually being successful at it, is she is getting the public to now accept the fact that she's a man stealer. It is what it is. I like Porsha. I want her back on RHOA, but I'm just gonna call it like I see it, and that's like I see it. Porsha she saw this house, the cars. They had Rolls Royces, Ferraris, Bentleys, all these things. And now Porsha has a $7 million home, beautiful home. We do have to move on. Because I do think that Porsha will probably be back on RHOA next season with a big raise. Her Instagram followers are now at 7 million. So I'm a straight shooter, pow. But let's get to the body shaming. Now, with the body shaming, it's it's one of those nuanced conversations. On Ultimate Girls Trip, the first thing that I saw rotating around the internet was this picture. People were comparing Candiace to Jim Carrey. Here's my issue with this. There are a lot of women who do not have double D's. They are still beautiful women. Why is it that the expectation is that for those people who have a thinner frame, you need to go and get your done? I don't get it. That was the first thing that was kind of like, ugh. I didn't like it. And even if you don't like Candiace, because what has been happening is because Candiace called Gizelle neck and ankles, they're like, that's what Candiace gets. Y'all all know about this t-shirt. If you know my channel, you know that I don't tell people what to think, but you won't hear me calling Gizelle neck. But I am fully aware that if you try to lie on somebody's husband, which is what I truthfully believe, you kind of get what you get. But I'm just talking about for the sake of the body shaming. So I do not agree with what was going on and what was being said about Candiace. She's a beautiful woman with a natural body, and I think people need to embrace their natural bodies more often. If you choose to get something done, go ahead and do that. I'm a proponent for whatever you need to fix it, if that makes you feel great about yourself. But I don't think that we should be slamming somebody because they have a natural body. She also has a six-pack. I don't like. Let that woman be great. Let Gizelle be great. If Gizelle and Candiace have this and they talk about each other, that's one thing. But when you factor in Leah calling Gizelle neck, when that happened, I kind of was like, I don't like that. Maybe it's me being hypocritical, but I don't know that your beef was as strong. So it hit me another way. And you guys can put in the comments if when Leah said that on Ultimate Girls Trip, if you haven't seen that, she calls Gizelle neck because she's having friction with Gizelle. There's something about her doing that and body shaming Gizelle that I don't like. And if you watch my reviews, you know how I feel about how Gizelle gets away with stuff, but I didn't like her doing that. And I also think it's weird that the Grand Dame, fan favorite, love Karen, but the Grand Dame has called Gizelle stovepipe legs, said that she was retaining water. That's why her legs look like that. You know what I mean? These things happen. So the body shaming thing is starting to get old and tired. And nothing is more old and tired in my eyes than Candace Owens coming for Lizzo. Now, what I will say, this was not the picture I chose. This was on the Neighborhood Talk. And the Neighborhood Talk low-key went in on her. So let me let you guys hear what she had to say, because Candace Owens had more to say on body shaming. The article reads, or the post reads, say what? Candace Owens says women are insane for calling Lizzo beautiful. Men do not lie to other men this way. They do not pretend clinical obesity is beauty. Now, I don't know too many men walking up to each other calling each other beautiful in the first place, but okay. This is what the Neighborhood Talk had to say. Once again, Candace Owens is speaking on Lizzo as if Candace is the poster child for beauty. Now, this was the picture that was posted. But if you slide through, this is the picture that they had. The not so popular conservative took to Twitter to bash women who called Lizzo beautiful and suggested that men would not say the same. Only women could be emotionally manipulated into supporting their own eradication via support for trans men, she wrote to Twitter. Only men could be fooled into supporting a cult of fat acceptance. Candiace, who doesn't put much effort into her own. No, this is what the neighbor talk says, not me. Candiace, who doesn't put much effort into her own appearance and hasn't grown an inch of hair in all these years we've unfortunately known her, said the women who support Lizzo's weight are insane. Men do not lie to other men in this way. They do not pretend that clinical obesity is beauty. What Candiace hasn't learned is that the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and Lizzo's man appears to be more than happy. As for Candiace, it's unclear how many beholders share sentiments of beauty concerning her. But if I must say, she's the prettiest bird I've ever seen. Now, there was a lot of shade in that. But what I will say is, it is funny that you consistently go after this woman's looks. So because somebody calls Lizzo pretty, what are you trying to say about that? That the only beauty is skinny people? So what about the people in the gym who are consuming way too much pre-workout and it's affecting their heart? So because you don't see it and all you see is like a six-pack, it's okay? You cannot be a proponent for health and advocate for health if you are not talking about those unhealthy things that people who are skinny or physically fit do. Am I the only one here? Like, it is insane to me to just look at a plus-size person and say, you're killing yourself. What? It's not fair. It's ridiculous. I mean, I touched on this. Coyle Ray, they talk about her. They want her to go and get some enhancements. Chris Brown, they were talking about him when he put on weight, but then they talked about him when he lost the weight. So really, what is it? And y'all know how I feel about Rihanna. Rihanna is my absolute favorite person in the world. But once she puts on weight, they go in on her looks, even when she was pregnant. So we really do have to be cognizant of body shaming. Do I say that telling people not to body shame is unrealistic? Yes, because people will still do it. But because it's a nuanced conversation, I wanted to have it with you guys. You tell me how you feel. Because what I found out is if you like Gizelle, you're going to really dislike the fact that Candiace calls her neck and then other people call her neck. But if you like Candiace, you will go up for calling her neck and ankles and whatever else. So it's weird. It's a nuanced conversation, but I want to have it with you guys. So put in the comments how you feel about this. Put in the comments if you see what I was saying about Porsha. And I'm going to see you guys later. Whew, have a good one.